Today we're going to be talking about a probiotic called Bio-Kult Original Multi-Strain Probiotic, which is a 14-strain blend that has been studied in the diarrhea subtype of irritable bowel syndrome, also known as IBS-D. So what was it that we liked about the research when it comes to Bio-Kult and how it influences IBS-D individuals? So I think first things first, we just need to make it clear that this particular probiotic blend has only been studied one time from what we can tell in an IBS population, and that IBS population was exclusively individuals with IBS-D. So those of you who have another IBS subtype, try not to extrapolate too many results from this, because really we can only speak to how this probiotic impacted people with IBS-D. But that being said, I feel like that kind of leads into one of the first things that we liked about the research that's been done on this particular probiotic, because the bottom line is that we don't have a lot of strain-specific probiotic studies out there that look at one particular IBS subtype. And so to have honed in specifically on individuals with IBS-D is awesome, because we know exactly how it might be impacting this particular subtype. So that was something that definitely won some points in our book. But here's the other thing that was pretty cool. So when it comes to probiotic trials for IBS, a lot of times they are fairly small studies. And I'm not saying that this one was a mega study in the scheme of clinical trials or anything, but overall there were 360 participants in this particular study. So that's definitely one of the bigger trials that we saw as far as population size goes, and was something that was also pretty intriguing to us. And then another thing that we liked about the Bio-Kult study was that the intervention time period when they were actually giving the probiotic lasted for 16 weeks, which in the scheme of things for different probiotic trials in IBS is a fairly long duration trial. I would say more commonly you see probiotic trials in IBS lasting 4 to 8 weeks. So it was interesting to see that sort of longer term study, relatively so anyway, in an IBS probiotic trial.
Before we continue, I want to quickly tell you about IBSprobiotics.org. So this started out as a research project, but then we ended up turning it into this really cool comparison tool. When you go on the site, you can easily compare which probiotics were most effective for different IBS symptoms, all exclusively based off of clinical studies. In fact, we spent the past 2 years building it, having analyzed over 50 different probiotics across more than 75 placebo-controlled trials. And the results surprised us. For example, we found that some really popular probiotics were nowhere near as effective as some lesser-known options, and there were even some probiotics that seemed to do more harm than good. So I hope this free tool helps you to cut through the marketing hype and saves you a ton of time when evaluating a probiotic.
So when it comes to the symptoms that Bio-Kult appeared to help improve in this particular study, what we saw was that at the 5-month follow-up visit, there was a 66.9% reduction in the overall IBS symptom severity score. And we also saw a 69% reduction in abdominal pain at that time point, a 71.4% reduction in abdominal pain frequency, and then a 66.5% reduction in abdominal distension, a 62.6% reduction for bowel symptoms, and then a 59% reduction for bowel movements per day. And when it comes to how long it took for all of these different parameters to become significant compared to the placebo group, it seemed like all of these symptoms, with the exception of bowel movements per day, seem to improve within 1 month of supplementation compared to the placebo group. And then it took 2 months for there to be a significant improvement over placebo for the bowel movements per day parameter. So just a rule of thumb, you probably would start to expect to see improvements beginning around the 1 month mark. But if your primary thing you're going for is reducing the number of bowel movements that you're having per day, then you may need to wait until about that 2-month mark. When it comes to how to take Bio-Kult, the way that this probiotic was taken in the study was that it was given at 8 billion CFU per day, and that was split into 2 doses per day, so 2 capsules 2 times per day with or before meals. And that was taken for a total of 16 weeks, but like we were saying before, the benefits started to kick in around month 1, but when it came to bowel movement frequency, benefits seem to start being more significant around the 2-month mark. So we would suggest a limited duration trial of at least 1 month, but possibly up to 2 months to see if you personally might be benefiting from this particular probiotic. And that's all that we're going to be covering today when it comes to Bio-Kult for the management of IBS-D related symptoms. And I think with that, one thing I want to ask you is, would you personally consider taking this probiotic for the management of IBS-D symptoms after watching this video? So let us know what your thoughts are about Bio-Kult, or if you've even tried it before. We would love to hear about that down in the comment section below.
Thanks for watching this video, and as a quick reminder, don't forget to check out IBSprobiotics.org. We're really proud of this research project turned comparison tool that we've made. And of course, it is free and publicly available. And if you want to keep up to date with the latest IBS research, you can follow me here. See you next time.